Welcome back, Level-Headed Mind family. In this video, I'm going to be compiling all the top tips that we uncovered for Mental Health Awareness Month. And though mental health awareness is given 1 month, it doesn't mean it stops here. And yes, it's the last day of May and we're wrapping it up. However, you can continue to spread the word and continue the mental health awareness. And I'm going to help you out. I'm going to be giving away 2 $50 gift certificates to Psych Life Tea Company so you can represent mental health awareness with gear like this and continue on the message of spreading the word and helping to stop the stigma. So what you need to do is watch this video, give it a thumbs up, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and comment down below which tip was your favorite tip, and make sure to hashtag with Stop the Stigma, and you will be entered into the drawing, which I will be drawing the name of the winner on June 10th. So that'll be next Friday, giving you all a week and a half. So spread the video around, share it with your friends to continue spreading the word on mental health awareness. So I hope you like this video with all the top tips from the interviewees that we did this entire month. I'll also be adding in the beginning a sneak peek to an exclusive interview that I did with Jess and King. So I hope that you enjoyed that. And if you do enjoy that clip, make sure to check that video out. The link will be in the description. You take care. Good luck with the contest, and I'll make sure to see you all next week.
I feel like we are at a crux where mental health is becoming more aware, but there's also a damaging side to the awareness too, because I have all these things and I'm feeling like, especially on YouTube, since I'm on YouTube a lot, some people are saying, oh, we all have traumatic parenthoods, or oh, our parents all hurt us in some way, or oh, this person had a really bad life, but you know, everyone has something that they're dealing from. Now, I don't like that, because if you look at the statistics, the whole point about mental illness is it's different from the majority of people, that there is a smaller percentage of people that have mental illness than people who don't. And the whole point of the awareness is to bridge the gap so people can understand what's going on, so we're not being discriminated in the workplace, that we can have better relationships with our family and friends and subscribers and who else that is, because they come to a level of not knowing but understanding. And I feel that when people nowadays are saying, oh yeah, everyone gets depressed, or oh, anxiety, everyone has that, or oh yeah, everyone has parents that are blah, 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 that to me, that's discounting it and it's making it bad. I don't think we should ever make it seem like everyone has mental health issues, because not everyone does. What do you think, Jezel?
The glass was always half empty. I was suspicious of everyone. These are the things that runs through the minds of those who have mental illnesses oftentimes.
Yeah.
You don't trust anyone. And so as I recalled how I felt, you know, with mental illness and being diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and I started saying how guarded my patients were, I recognized that those feelings I felt are what they feel too, right? And so that's why I came up with this concept, because I was thinking to myself, what if people began to understand just how courageous we think they are for having to battle, you know? And I thought to myself, it would be so awesome if whenever you step onto an inpatient unit or into a clinic or into a hospital, any type of mental health space, what if you were greeted with beautiful, bright colors, you know, on people's clothes. And, you know, people just adorned with messages of hope, messages that make you think to yourself, oh my God, I am at the right place. Maybe I can get help here. So that's essentially why I created Psych.
Wow, and it's been very powerful as far as getting the message out to others. I see you're wearing a shirt. I believe that's to never give up. Yeah, see, that's a wonderful message.
You have to put your mental health and your well-being first beyond anything else other than God. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and I was sharing with them about my depression.
Yes.
And I put mine in quotation marks. And then it got all over me. I was like, man, why am I taking ownership of this thing? You know, to be very honest and transparent with you all, since I had postpartum depression, I have been on a mental wellness journey dealing with that depression. And thankfully, I am stable now, but it took a long time to get there, right? And when I was having this conversation with this individual and I was sharing my journey, I took ownership of the depression like it was mine. And when I did that, it really blew my mind, and I stopped, you know, all of a sudden, very abruptly, and I said, wait a minute, that's not mine.
That's right.
I said, the depression, my experience with the depression.
Right.
And instantly I thought to myself, how many people do this? You know, how many people, you know, take ownership of things? My heart attack, my cancer, my this, my that. No, we have to, you know, really allow that to not be a part of our identity. That is not who you are. Okay?
Absolutely.
And when I started thinking about that, I said, my God, I have to share this with LinkedIn.
In healing, and also with healing, there's a place of altruism that occurs where after the healing takes place, you want to give back. You want to share your experience because you don't want others to suffer the way you did. And so that is something that you can absolutely do if you have a story that, you know, something that has happened in your life. Sharing it on a platform like LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever platform you're using can be very powerful for your healing, but also very powerful for the audience that you're sharing it with, because you never know whose life you could be touching.
I've been in the process of being in the continuous improvement industry, so helping people improve processes in their work. So that's what I've really been focused on and moving along in that industry. And then over the last maybe year or two, my mindset has really changed to focus more on the people side of that. In fact, at a conference I went to recently, they were talking about this idea of improving processes. And they said that, hey, improving processes is easy, but transforming people is hard. And I thought, man, that is such a revelation to me. And that's the kind of work that I want to be a part of, and helping people transform and get to where they want to get to. And not that that's impossible, for them to understand that that isn't impossible, but it is possible if they understand where they want to get to, where they are now, and to do it one step at a time. So really it's been like a long journey to finally get to that point of understanding that that's where I want to go. Yeah, I'd say the stigma I had around mental health was my own. It was, I need to perform, and if I'm going to ask for help, there's something wrong with me. right? So if I go in here to get mental health care, that means there's something like I'm bad. And I was already feeling that. There's already that doubt in me, you know, that, oh, you're bad. And there's a lot of pieces in there around beliefs and stories and my experiences and messages that were given to me in different like faith and religious spaces that were like that I had ingrained in me. And so going to ask for help, I think even though in like my faith tradition was like, hey, you should reach out, like you should ask for help. Like on the other hand, it was like, you need to look good, you need to perform, you need to present a certain way, otherwise you are falling short. Versus like, how about we should be able to come as we are with our challenges and our shortcomings and encourage each other and help each other and work through these and see what's going on. So I'd say the stigma was my own. An aha moment in terms of where I'm going and what I'm supposed to be doing. And I was like, I want to tell that story because it's like so meaningful to me. Like it really, really changed how I think about where I'm going. And it's really spoke to me at a heart level of like, you do have value, you do have something to offer in this space. And so I just was like, man, I want to share this. And people have really responded to that. They really have gotten a lot of comments. People like, thank you for sharing that. Like I've resonated with where you're at and thank you for being authentic. And that's what I feel. I think for me, I feel so good when I put out an authentic and true version of myself. Mm-hmm. There's, I don't know if it's a saying or a picture that my counselor talked a lot about. And that's that picture of a mirror. When you look at your mirror and you, and like, is that, are you reflecting back yourself? Like an integrated self, like your whole self when you look at it. And so I think I would say the same for my content. If I were to look at, is that like when I look at my content and it looks back at me, is that a true reflection of me? Is that like incongruent? Is it authentic and true? And if I can say yes to that, like this is Sam Morgan and this is who I am. And you know, if that resonates with you, cool. If it doesn't, that's okay too. Keep going on this journey, right? Like I think keep striving every day, every moment, and reach out, find your community, and be your authentic self. I think that, like you said, that's the theme, and that you can do those things that you wanted to do. Like you can do those things, right? Get a vision for what that looks like, understand where you're at, and take small steps to get there. And you'll feel so good at the end of the journey when you do it. If I can help you do it, great. Feel free to reach out. If there's anybody else that you know of, like reach out. That's the thing. It's just start and try.
But maybe the emotional needs are not met. But you have a roof over your head. You look comfortable. You don't have any maybe quote unquote abuse, and yet you are emotionally stunted. And then on that journey where the mental health piece comes in, then you are struggling with unmet needs and unresolved issues in your relationships, and they come up or show up during inconvenient times. And so I believe so strongly that then that emotion is trying to teach you something, it's trying to let you know that something is really not right and you need to pay attention and do something about it. So that is where this came about, because when we have headaches, we take Tylenol and all these different things, or we drink nice, calming, soothing tea. But when I'm emotionally depleted, or when I know something is wrong and it's provoking anxiety or giving me that angst, what do I do to fix that? So that is how that came about. Because when we are thirsty, we drink, right? When we are hungry, we eat. When we feel sticky, we take showers and do refreshing things. But what do we do with those signals that our emotions are giving us? And so that is where it's coming from. For people on the front lines, particularly ministers, you know, with the kind of work you do, nurses, you know, nurse practitioners, and all these different roles we play. Because imagine, you know, coming from home and things are not right with you, and you are seeing the patient. Guess what? You don't have that minute. What do you do to process your emotions effectively so that you can be in that good space for that person? And the person is actually also catching that vibe about you. So how do we balance this thing we call life so that we can flush stuff out of our system the way we flush other things, and then put on the right, healthy emotion, and then deal with the world from that healthy emotion. So yeah, it came about from that. And some of these leaders are dealing with rejection and all kinds of stuff. So you get a leader like that, and the entire congregation is in trouble. And that was the thing. Because the more they whip you guys into frenzy and tell you things to keep you in line, the better they think they are in control. And so for me, that was the big one. And I've had clients who would say, I still, people have been traumatized, literally gone through their own traumas, maybe have a one-on-one. And these church leaders or people in that spiritual spaces are also frontline workers. So somebody might go and discuss or disclose their struggles with them. And instead of maybe telling them, maybe I'm not equipped to help you and go and look for this resource, before you know it, through the pulpits, they will tell the person maybe they have a demon or all those different things. So stigmatization actually goes on in that space. Since we trust our leaders, right? If you have a leader who is leading you the wrong way, you might prolong not seeking help until you get worse. Because if they tell you, oh, you don't need a therapist, you need deliverance, they don't even mention that there are even resources that can help you, then you might not even look for that help to get diagnosed. And let's even talk about communities of color. There are barriers to even seeking therapy and all these things. So then it makes them even more vulnerable. And so I'm so glad that this is mental health awareness, and we are bringing the spiritual aspect into it, because yes, the leaders in the ministries are the frontline people. And if they are not informed, they are making these mistakes. So they're exercising people, casting out demons. And I'm like, you know what? You can't cast out the behaviors. Behavior, you cannot cast out. There are things that need to be done, and protocols that will help the person with the behavior. So I'm so glad that we are having this conversation, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the spiritual stigma or the religious stigma is a real thing.
We need emotional dumps too, particularly if you are in the space. But what is important is that we have seen an unprecedented time. We are living in an unprecedented time. And I believe those of us who have answered the call to hold spaces for others to heal, we need to begin our own healing. We put ourselves last, and that is not going to serve the humanity that we want to serve. Most mental health spaces have backlogs and waiting lists. So this problem, according to the World Health Organization, we are in a 20-year down. So how can we feel good so that we can show up, like you said, as vessels of light and healing for real, when you have dealt with all of what you need to deal with? But the other component that is important for us to really take care of our emotional well-being is the fact that we bleed on our family, our spouses, our significant other, our family members, and I'm sure they hold a clue to the fact that you are not well, and yet we are pushing through. So if you are here, at the sound of my voice, and you are listening to this, there is help. You don't have to struggle alone.
I'm a nurse entrepreneur and I'm an innovator. So what my business is after the pandemic, well, during the pandemic, I realized that our society was really dependent on people deemed essential workers. Yet usually essential workers, or the people who fill that space, they have really little access to healthcare for themselves. So I built a business model really catered to helping them as individuals, proactively and preventatively. Usually small business owners, they don't have access to great health insurance because they are usually a smaller team. So I wanted to have a community-inspired program where small business owners can get a wellness or an employee assistance program where they can have an outside healthcare source explain to them wellness, health, and just cost-effective ways to care for themselves and the employees if they do have some. So during my pregnancy, I did not want to end up with postpartum depression. So I really went in on it preventatively and proactively. And I really saw a big help. I really saw how it really helped me as I went through the pregnancy and even after, doing meditation, affirmations, like really journaling, all the proactive things. It really helped me not spiral into depression postpartum.
Mental health care is a daily practice, and you actually incorporate this into your clients' care plans, which is amazing, which is wonderful, and which is what every nurse should be doing. You don't have to be a nurse practitioner to include emotional well-being and mental health care into a care plan.
Something that I realized coming out of a clinical setting was that my mental and emotional health had to be stabilized for me to even really bring it up with my patients. So for me, it's really important for me to ensure that I am okay mentally and I am in a mentally healthy environment so that I can promote that with my patients.
That is a good point, Kasey, because when we don't take care of our own mental health care, we can easily be at risk for burnout, because in various nursing practices, facilities, it's a high stress role and a high stress job. So that's a great point, that whether you're a mental health care provider or just a healthcare provider out there working in a facility, running your own business or practice, if you don't put your own mental health care first, then you are going to be at risk for burnout, at risk for mental illnesses, anxiety and depression, and many others. However, if you incorporate preventative practices like Kasey is talking about, you can actually build resiliency against those illnesses and build resiliency against physical disease, as well as healthy well-being and mental health well-being equates to a better physical health and better physical outcomes.